Hi everyone, it's Steven once again from Where Else Philippines, my expat life. And today we're going to do another episode of Ask an Expat. And I had a question from one of the viewers who is interested, or at least wanting to hear about some suggestions. And he came up with the top 10 suggestions for a person of color on moving to the Philippines. So Junior, I'm going to answer those questions best as my ability. But instead of there being suggestions, I think they're more like considerations that you need to take into mind when you're thinking about coming here. And in no particular order, I'm going to start off with family ties. Now, family ties are important because you have siblings, maybe, or parents, yes, and kids. Will they miss you? Will you miss them? Can you be physically away from them for great lengths of time? Maybe you could care less, or maybe you love them dearly and would like to see them. Well, you can always go back for visits, and there's, FaceTime and the apps that I use, WhatsApp and Viber. You can do a chat, and you can do, live video. You can talk to them. Doesn't replace the holding, but if you think you can be away from these folks that mean so much to you for periods of time, then that's one thing that you have under your belt that you don't have to worry about. Another thing to consider is the weather. Now, to be honest, extreme weather here is more likely unless you're from a state where there are tornadoes or earthquakes or fires in the woods and the hills like California, hurricanes, heat waves, frost, flash floods, and all this stuff regularly occurs. That happens all the time. I mean, here there are regularly scheduled typhoons. There are chances of earthquakes. We are in the ring of fire. And there are a few active volcanoes scattered around that rumble occasionally. So there's that. Politics. Be in mind that the laws and the politics of the Philippines is never written with your best interest in mind. So it's best to stay away from politics and obey the law no matter what, because there's no such thing as a speedy trial. There is no such thing as having a jury of your peers, and jail is not fun. So just obey. Cost of living. Now, cost of living is depending upon your expected cash flow. Is your cash flow based on a fixed amount and is it going to be guaranteed over a certain amount of time, or near guaranteed, because nothing is guaranteed? How much can you regularly forward to yourselves in terms of savings? Through wire transfers, through Western Union, or some other kind of method. You can't bring a whole bunch of cash with you. You can't go back and come back with enough cash that's going to sustain you for a year. That traveling back and forth costs money, and living here costs money. So you have to consider your finances. So where you're going to live depends on how much you're going to have to require for your monthly expenses. And that's food, that's rent, that's transportation, that's all other expenses that you might come up with living in a place where you're trying to enjoy yourself. So, which comes to the next consideration, which is goals. What are you coming here for? Why? To work, to retire, to live off the grid? Well, if you're planning to work, what work? Do you need a visa? There are all kinds of visas that are required for people who want to work here. Are you going to start a business? You can't own your own business, not by yourself. So be prepared to have partners. You better trust them. Retirement, well, retirement is fine. Do you require assisted living? Or can you live on your own? You can get somebody to assist you with living, or you can live off the grid. And then, if the living off the grid is the life you want to live, like a gypsy, going from place to place, moving from here to there, not putting down any roots, what is it you're coming here for? There's socializing. Socializing is another consideration. Are you arriving by yourself, alone? Are you coming with someone? Do you have a wife? Are you going to meet somebody here? Are you looking for love? You just want to be by yourself? Are you straight? Are you gay? Are you able to mingle with people of another culture without having to feel superior to them? Because you're not. And you will find that if you act that way, you won't last long here. Which comes to discrimination. Which is probably the only thing that relates to a person of color. Remember this, you are the foreigner. You are the blonde that Americans used to dream about in the US. So it doesn't matter if you're black or white. It doesn't matter if you're straight or gay. I have never ever felt racism directed towards me by any Filipino. I don't think they know what that is. On the very rarest of occasions, however, other foreigners sometimes have directed some racist remarks, comments towards me, but never Filipinos. And they have their own issues. And their issues are amongst themselves, between dark-skinned Filipinos and light-skinned Filipinos. And you can see that kind of reflected in all of the beauty, skin lightening, whitening products that they have. But towards us, no, I haven't felt any. Health. Health is important, you need to consider, because I think you should get as complete a physical before leaving to know if there's any conditions you need to have treated or require maintenance in order to continue living your best life. If you're planning on living in or near a metro, you can always get an annual physical in a local hospital. I do that. I am in the outskirts or suburbs of the Metro Manila. It's easy for me to get to major hospitals. One is 10 minutes away, the other 20 minutes away. So I do my physicals. If you have medical conditions, okay, you might want to consider medical insurance. I have high blood pressure. Most black people do. It's a maintenance program that I've been on even before I got here, so having it continue here is not that big of a deal. And then there's personal skills, like what skills do you possess that would make your life in another country easier and enjoyable for you? You are moving away from the US to another country, in this case you're talking Philippines, and you want your best life. What skills do you have that are going to help you achieve that? Do you have the ability to learn another language easily? Are you good with your hands? Can you build stuff? Can you have brain power to create things? Do you have hobbies that you might want to come here and monetize? I have photography as my main hobby. I did make a little bit of money. Luckily for me, that was never going to be my main source of income. So, I didn't get too much frustrated with the supposed lack of getting clients that, want me to take their picture. I do photography as a hobby, not to make money, because I enjoy it. It's my skill, among other things, but that's the one that I could probably use to make a few pesos if that's what I wanted to do. The other stuff, I don't want to even think about. And I think what's most important is having the ability to see through a lot of bullshit that you're going to face when you get here. But you have to be of the mindset that you're not going to react to it. You can't react to it. If you do, you're going to be frustrated from day one until the day you leave. And you won't stay long. There's a lot of stuff that you're not going to be used to. So try to control yourself. See through it. Don't react to it. Learn from it. Figure out how to move on. Know what's important, what's not important, and you should be fine. And the last thing, in this list of 10 considerations is, is it better than here? Meaning, can where you want to go, in this case the Philippines, be better than where you are now? It could be the Philippines. It could be, as I said, Europe. It could be some other part of Asia. It could be Africa. These places are not for everybody. None of them are, okay? It's a combination of the lifestyle you want to leave, the living conditions, it's the health, it's what you're going to do in terms of day-to-day, your goals, all of the things that I've listed, okay? If those things can be addressed in the destination that you plan to come to or go to your satisfaction, then go. But outside of America, color doesn't really matter. So don't be racist. And racism won't come to you, but don't be racist to somebody else. Sexual orientation doesn't matter, at least here, maybe some other places, but here it doesn't matter. So don't be a pervert. Don't criticize somebody else's sexual orientation. So behave yourself. Think about what it is that you want to do when you come here. These hopefully will give you some thought if you hadn't thought about it before in terms of why you would want to move to the Philippines or even move someplace outside of the US. As I said, it's not for everybody. So think carefully, do your research. If you are able to, do like I did, make a few trips, come, see for yourself, experience it for a few weeks, go back home, decide, make your plans, get your shit together, come on over. Of course, can't come now because of COVID and restrictions on travel. But one day when it opens up, you can come. But you have now to think about it for those of you who are thinking about leaving where you are and coming here. Be safe in the meantime. Don't do bad to other people. Be kind. If you are a new viewer, again, I want you to hit the like and subscribe buttons that are somewhere down below. Until next time, I will see you again soon. This is Steven from Where Else Philippines. I'm out.